Hey, what's going on? It's Brother Gardner from the all new Hallelujah 96.3. Today, man, I'm honored for my Sunday conversation. I got Brunswick's own Dewayne Hendrix, and author of Red Pill Alchemy, author of Supreme Science. And I got a hold of your book. My cousin gave me your book. Shout out to Vaughn, and she was telling me she knew you. She went to school with. She said you've been talking this talk, since she's known you. And I was like, man, I have a conversation with this brother because the wide spectrum of what you're talking about, spirituality, systematic oppression, the state of Black people, where we're actually at, where we're going, even as far as being so connected and being open to exploring who we were spiritually before we were here in the United States. I think it's a conversation that we definitely need to have. And so, Dewayne, how you doing, brother?
I'm great, bro. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed. I got your book. I got it up on the dresser, and I haven't even cracked it yet. So before I even crack it, I get a precursor and kind of a pre-conversation into what I'm getting into. Just being from Brunswick, let us know a little bit about you, where you're from, and what brought you into being an author.
Okay, I'm born and raised. I'm born at Brunswick Memorial Hospital. Born and raised in Brunswick. I graduated '93, Brunswick High. Went to the military. When I left, one of the things that started helping me to gain a lot of awareness as far as from a social and political atmosphere was going into the military and having a top secret clearance at such a young age.
Wow.
So I entered into the military with the top secret clearance based on my job classification. My job classification was computer communication.
Wow.
So my first duty assignment was at MacDill Air Force Base in Florida. And I worked in a unit that supported U.S. Special Operations Command and U.S. Central Command. U.S. Central Command is the command that actually what's called in the military AOR, area of responsibility. Their region of the world is what people call today the Middle East, right? Okay. So basically, all of the intel that was coming to the United States military, and that's all 4 branches of the military, and then also anything that was being reported back to the CIA or NSA or anything like that was coming from that region of the world, more than likely, I was seeing some sort of correspondence. And that's Jordan, Libya, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, any of those countries you name. And the other unit that I named, U.S. Special Operations Command, was actually, that's where all your Green Berets and that's where like all of your special ops and things like that take place. That's where the headquarters of it is, So the SEALs and all of these different things that they make movies about where they go into countries and they go kill this dictator or whatever they do. Like I actually worked in the unit with the real life people that were a part of all of those missions in the time that I was in. So that began to shape and mold my mind to help me to understand the bigger picture and have a greater worldview, And then from once I got out of the military, I lived in Florida for a little while, and then I came home. And that really, to be honest with you, like once you start to realize the hypocrisy of so many different things, that's what made me get out of the military. So I actually got out of the military early. And at the time, it was when IT was booming. So I had a job making twice what I was making in the military my first year out of the military. And
Wow.
I ended up eventually moving back to Georgia. Moved to Atlanta and got involved in the music industry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've owned 4 recording studios. I worked on a lot of different music projects, and then that's what led me to picking up the spirituality and getting into the different things that I got into because I kept seeing so many barriers in the entertainment industry. And it was so many different things that I just wasn't willing to do as a man that I saw other people doing to actually become successful, you know. And it,
So let me ask you this, because a lot of times when people are speaking against systems, when people are speaking against things that have been set in place, you're often viewed as somebody who is lazy or somebody who hasn't accomplished anything or experienced anything. So what would make you be a part of something like the military and actually see how things are functioning and running? What's something specific that made you say, oh, this is not for me and this is upholding something that I don't agree with?
um, it was many things, but the main thing, like I'm not at liberty to say what it was, but it was a phone conversation that I heard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there were certain documents that I read.
Wow, wow, wow.
You
So
know?
so with you you coming to into this awakening and coming into this light, and still at the same time you're accomplishing things. Like you said, you came out and you were making twice just because you were in the right field and you seen where things were going.
Right.
Some of the things that you switched up that you did earlier after your awakening, whether it be something you might have did different spiritually, something you might have did different professionally, or interactions you had. What was the results of your awakening that showed up in your life ultimately and sparked you to continue on this path of thinking?
Okay. Well, at first, basically, I had to shut down and I couldn't even talk to people
Mm.
because you realize there's such a separation from what people perceive things to be as the real world and what the real world really is.
Right.
Right. So you have people that follow narratives, and when they say this is what it is, this is what people accept, but the truth is actually this, but they accept this. You
Right.
understand? So because of that, it took me a long time to even begin. We talking about the 90s, you know, when all of this was going on. And I actually didn't formally start speaking out and teaching and writing until 2010 time frame.
Okay.
So it basically it made me reserve a lot. And I take that back. I really started speaking out, even though we didn't have social media like we have now and everything. I really started speaking out and started telling people things around 9/11.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the defining moment for me. That I said to myself, okay, I can no longer just sit back and allow these things to that I know to manifest in real life, and I see it, and I'm living in a moment where people are really believing that it was this guy named Osama bin Laden that did all of these different things. And me knowing the things that I knew, I had already read up something called the PNAC, or the Project for a New American Century, that was actually written by a man named Paul Wolfowitz.
Mm-hmm.
I had read that in the 90s.
Okay.
So when September 11, 2001 came, it didn't shock me at all, because I knew that there would be certain world events that would be taking place that would basically allow for this narrative that I read in this writing to be carried out. You know, so a lot of things, like, you know, people who have advanced knowledge of certain incidents, like, we'll know that something is going to happen. We just don't know how it's going to take place.
Right,
If that
right.
makes sense to you, you know.
No, it makes sense. So okay, so get into the books. Now you've had your awakening. You get into a place where you're speaking out, and now you're writing. What could somebody get from a book like Supreme Science? Seeing as they could be scared by the title, you know, when you think about the Bible Belt and being where we're at down south, there's a way of thinking, there's a way how people do things, and it's
Right.
usually church or nothing. What are some things that they can get from Supreme Science to take them further into what they're looking for? Because I know I was talking to you about certain things, and you were popping up with scriptures and certain information.
Right.
And so, where can they start with this book, Supreme Science, and the questions that you answer and some solutions that you provide to how we could be a people of faith? We could be in America, and it's supposed to be this, but on the other side, we're still oppressed, we're still behind, and we're still searching for equality in our part here.
Right. Well, from a biblical standpoint, for people to adhere to, if they adhere to the Bible, then they know it's, you know, a certain people that's called lost sheep, you know. So we need to make that applicable to be able to comprehend what's really being conveyed in that particular scripture. You know, the issue a lot of times is that we don't actually get taught what the Bible is, and that's the problem.
Right.
When you get into it, you have a physical doctrine and you have a spiritual doctrine. Right? And if brothers and sisters were being taught the message the right way, it could be a very good book. Right? But when you get into it, for instance, the story of Adam and Eve, right? If you're not taught properly and you just read that story linearly, because we get taught in a straight line, right? Linear. We get taught linear, and we should be taught circular, because all things go full circle, right? So if we get taught the right way, we will understand how to take this knowledge and bring it full circle with this knowledge and apply it to this knowledge, and everything will make complete sense to us. Right. But what happens is we get taught a physical doctrine, and it's linear. So we get taught that the Genesis story is the very beginning of time. Even though if you know how to read the Bible and you understand the original languages that it was written in, it's not telling you that. Right? That's why the first commandment that Adam was truthfully given was to replenish the earth. If you redo anything, that means it was already something there prior to it.
Okay.
You understand? So replenish means that it was already plentiful at one point, and now he was being told to replenish the earth. You understand? And in the book Supreme Science, I actually prove that there was a period of time that took place that the Genesis story is really talking about, that 17,250,000 years ago, the earth was pretty much bombarded with meteorite showers. So that's what killed off most of the dinosaurs that was on the planet. Right. You understand? And once that happened, Adam and Eve, it wasn't one man and one woman.
Mm.
Adam describes man and Eve describes woman.
Mm-hmm.
And as we are called Homo sapien,
mm-hmm.
right? It's giving us a part of a particular period in time. So that's why Cain and Abel, right? In that story, Cain was able to go and find a wife in the land of Nod.
True.
Understand? If it was Adam and Eve and it was just one woman and one man, right? And they had two boys, Cain and Abel, there would be no one for Cain or Abel to marry.
Right.
You know. So if we get taught these things the right way, it's beautiful because we can actually apply spiritually the different things that are universal principles that will never fail you.
Right.
So a basic premise or a basic principle is I want to say it's Matthew 6:9 when Jesus says, "Pray unto the Father in this manner, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven."
Right.
Now, when we get into the spiritual doctrine and what that really means is that this is an ancient practice that spans every ancient culture in existence, that the microcosm, earth, is affected by the macrocosm, which is the heavens. Right?
Right.
So this takes us back into the very first verse in the Bible, Genesis 1:1, where it says, "In the beginning, God created." It said what?
The heavens and the earth.
It should be the heavens. It shouldn't be God created the heaven.
Yes, heavens with an S.
Right. If it was just one heaven, it would say God created heaven and earth. Right. But it says the heavens. Right?
Right.
Right. So when you get into the astrological story of Adam and Eve, it's really talking about 4 constellations. One is Virgo, which is Eve. Another one is the Serpent's constellation, which is the serpent. Another is Bootes, which is Adam. And another is Coma, which is the seed or the child. You understand? And learning and understanding and knowing that, it helps us now to be able to truthfully get a better grasp of the fact that many of the stories that we read have astrological implications. So that's why, for instance, 12 is such a prevalent number. Right? In the Bible.
12 tribes, 12 disciples. Yeah.
Right. Because you have 12 signs in the zodiac. Right? And then there's also a 13th zodiac called Ophiuchus. Right? And that's where Mary Magdalene, the 13th disciple, really comes in at.
See, now I'm about to read, because you had me for a second, and then I guess that's where it hit the supreme science. You just took it up a notch. You just took it up a notch on me. But see, that information right there, and just I too have had my moment with reading the Bible, and I'm saying, okay, what am I reading? And let me unlearn what I came to reading this book with, and let me relook at it and see what the words are saying. Then let me go back and see what the text was written in, and what the language was in, you know, because I was having a conversation the other day and we were talking about Adam and Eve, but, you know, their names wasn't Adam and Eve, it was Ish and Ishla in the original. So now you're saying, are we just saying man and woman? And are we taking man and woman and making them one person when you give them a name?
Right.
Instead of saying man and woman. So yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about and what path you're on, and when you talk about reading and comprehending what you're reading. Now, one of the most interesting things also is just from grazing through and seeing certain things, and even keeping up with you like on social media and stuff. I see that you speak about the Bible, but you also don't have a fear of when you talk about Egypt and ancient Egypt. And that's one of the things I'm always interested in, because, you know, we read the Bible, but a lot of people are scared of Egypt and what Egypt represents, the gods, and everything that was going on. Right. But there is a certain relationship that if you want to take up a Hebrew faith, there's a strong relationship with Egypt because of all the years of slavery, 400 plus years, even going back to the time in the Bible when you read about Joseph, even for Joseph to be actually sending Egyptian god artifacts with his brothers, you know, that it's a relationship there that God is using and showing, but I don't think it's shown the right way. I think more people are in.
Your audio went out. Can't hear you.
Hold on. I'm sorry. What speak about the word, but also talk about Egypt like you do, and the culture of Egypt and what was going on.
Right. So first off, you just said the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
The word is not an actual word.
Mm-hmm.
When it says, my favorite in the Bible, my favorite passage is John 1:1, where it says, in the beginning was the word, and the word was God, and the word was with God.
Right.
That passage, the word in Greek is logos, where we get the term logos from, which the original logos or the signs and symbols are on the walls in Egypt.
Hieroglyphics, right.
They say what? The writing is on the
wall, right?
And then they say, man, this is the truth because it's written in
stone. Yeah, right.
Right. So many of your stories, and this is what we have to understand. We have a King James version of the Bible.
Right, definitely.
Right. The original Bible, the first Bible is an 88-book Bible that's written in a dialect called Ge'ez, which is specific to the Amharic region in Ethiopia. And truthfully, that's where all of your Hebrew, Jewish customs and traditions come from.
Right.
So I'm gonna be talking, but just to prove what I'm saying, I'm gonna pull something up real quick and share the screen from Red Pill Alchemy. But in Ethiopia, we have all of what you would call the original Jewish or Hebraic traditions. They exist there. And the real New Year, according to their calendar, is around 9/11.
Wow.
You know, so in understanding that, for those who are old enough to remember September the 21st, 2001,
right.
If you understand that, you understand that the quote unquote Zionist Jews were the people who were really behind a lot of this. Right. And that's their New Year. So you could go throughout time memorial and you could find that 9/11, many historical events took place.
Wow.
For instance, the so-called murder of this cat that supposedly got killed in Minnesota by the police.
Mm-hmm.
The pre-trial is on 9/11 of this year for those cops.
Oh wow. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and I'm finna show some mind-blowing information that's gonna bring all of it home, and it's gonna really make a lot of sense to whoever's paying attention. But let me share the screen real quick and show you this.
And you said, and I heard you say so-called, so that means you got a different theory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, George Floyd, that particular situation, there was somebody there that was filming the whole thing in a mountaineer that was behind his truck. They went across the street and filmed from a different angle. And it's important for people to understand that, for one, when they show him on the surveillance camera and he's being handcuffed by the police and it's actually looking down on him like that, he has hair. But the image on the ground, he doesn't have hair.
Right.
The time code on the officer's body cam and the time code from the surveillance camera were for 2 different days. When you see the image or the footage of them filming from behind the truck, when the person who was filming crossed the street. Right. So somebody getting killed by the police, but Buddy like filming in the car, then he go across the street, park across the street, and film from another angle. Instead of getting out the car, man, why y'all doing this or any of those different things, right? When he crossed the street and filming from the back, the main footage that you see where the person like, why you on his neck, bro? Why y'all doing this? Why y'all doing this to him? And they filming from the sidewalk and the little Asian dude is saying, get back. When he crossed the street and he's filming from the other angle, you don't see anybody on the sidewalk talking. You know, okay. But it's a whole lot more.
Yeah, so you don't looked at a series of information.
Oh, man, yeah, absolutely.
Now I'm gonna say this, and just me, working in Brunswick, being in Brunswick, I was it's this brother named Hassan Campbell. Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah.
He was online and he was talking about the shooting being fake down here, and at that moment, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be leery of saying that about anything because I know what happened here.
Right.
But there's 2 different situations. But at the same time, I know it's made me leery of saying, looking at things and saying it might not be real or this or that just because of the experience here. I tend to stop before I go as far as saying that. But I'm definitely gonna check out your research and what you have said.
Right. Okay. Cool. That's all I tell people to do is just the research. Right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it right now. I can see it.
So you see this book?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if you remember Lauryn Hill, and I'm showing you this right here. So people have to understand what's being shown and what's being conveyed. So if you look at the top of this pyramid, you see that there's actually an X that's formed.
Right, I see it.
X marks the spot. Now, when you look at this flag for the UK, you see an X in white.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
This film, Evelyn Salt, Angelina Jolie, and then you see the X here.
Right.
Okay. This represents the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac: Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, and Taurus. That's the 4 beasts that sat around the throne.
Mm.
Right.
Right.
So I'm just gonna read this a little bit. It says, taking this a step further, we see that the Coptic is related to the Egyptian word Coptic. The Coptic church is said to be the oldest church in Christianity. This becomes extremely important to see that even the concepts of the churches today originate with Egypt and Ethiopia. The most popular Coptic church is the Monolithic Church. This name is, it's called the Monolithic Church. This name was given to a collection of 11 churches in Lalibela, Ethiopia, which is in the region called Amhara. The most renowned of these churches is the Rock-hewn Church in St. George's, also called Bet Gioris. Now, the reason why I pointed this out, because I like to show people how what we see in today's society, a lot of times where it comes from and how we need to make it applicable. So I cited and I said this: you recall in song lyrics, The Final Hour, Lauryn Hill said, now I'm gonna get the mozzarella like a Rockefeller, still be in the church in Lalibela singing hymns a cappella.
Right.
She was actually talking about this church that I'm about to show you. And of course, I put the pictures of her. I love Lauryn Hill, by the way.
Oh yeah, she got one of the best albums of all time, straight up.
Yeah. So this, okay, this is the fake baptism, and this is the real baptism.
Wow.
And this is called the Timkat ceremony in Ethiopia. Right? But I'm trying to find this picture. I must be got it up higher. I don't have page numbers in my book, and that's part of the design. Okay, here it is. So this is that church right here.
Okay.
This church is actually carved out of a mountain.
Whoa.
In Ethiopia. So if you look at it from an aerial view, right? This is how it looks from an aerial view. It's actually forming an X. X marks the spot, like I said. But this was actually dug out of a mountain. And you see again, this X is actually, this is a temple that's in Egypt. This picture right here on the left.
Right.
And it has the X in the window, and you see the cross right there. Right. And right here, you see the Lion of Judah.
Right.
With the X in the background of the swords.
Wow.
Because Judah represents Leo. Right?
Right.
So if you've seen the film The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that.
Film. That's why Aslan is a lion. He's the one that has the return. Right. Where does that sound familiar?
Right. That's the Bible. That's Yeshua. You know, Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's also the Lion King.
Oh yeah. He has a return. That's true.
Right.
That's true.
And that's an ancient African story that goes into Egypt, and Asar was crucified or slain by his evil brother, Cain and Abel, right?
Right.
He was killed by his evil brother and 72 conspirators.
Wow.
Right? And his son was conceived through immaculate conception, and his son eventually grew strong enough to avenge the death of his father.
Wow. Same story.
Right. Right. So what we have to understand is that these stories existed. thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, before there was even paper to write a book.
Wow.
In
Right.
fact, the word paper comes from the word papyrus, which was a plant that grew in ancient Egypt.
Right. I'm familiar with that plant.
You
Definitely.
know, so
Definitely.
when you see the scrolls that they would write on, that's the papyrus plant. They would make the scrolls from the papyrus plant.
Okay.
You know, so even us, by us saying Egypt, we really being blasphemous because the real word is tamare,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Tamare is the same thing we say when we say Al Tama,
Wow.
right?
Right.
Ta is earth, Ma is water, and Re is sun,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Al is sun, Ta is earth, Ma is water. The
Wow.
word Al is just the Ashuric, Syriac, Arabic way of saying the sun, just like we say El,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
In Hebrew, because El is the Akkadian name or the Sumerian name for sun,
Wow.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the word El is so dominant in Hebrew.
Mm. Mm.
All
Yeah.
of the angels' names end in El.
Right.
Gabriel,
Michael. Yeah. Everything is ill.
right?
Right. And then also like El Shaddai. Yeah. All that.
Right,
Yeah. Right.
right. And that's where your 72 names of God come in, when I just said the 72 conspirators in the other story.
Oh man, I see now see right there, you just connected up something and it just flew right over. I gotta overstand. I have to go back and overstand that part right.
Right. So when we get into it, let's see if I can find this for you real quick.
And it's interesting what you're talking about the church in Ethiopia, because I was reading up on it and I seen some documentaries. Like they're not playing over there, and they'll tell you that that pretty much the whole system of church we have over here is stolen from over there.
Correct.
It's painted in white paint.
Correct.
Basically.
Right. So now, and this is beautiful, bro, because the day is 7/2.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Right? It is.
Wow. Oh man. And now that just brought me into remembrance. I gotta dedicate this to my brother who passed early this AM on 7/2. My brother Willie Bacon. We say his name 3 times great. Willie Bacon, Willie Bacon, Willie Bacon. Because we say his name in the morning, the afternoon, and at nightfall. Right. So I honor my brother. Man, he always encouraged me to keep going and keep pushing the line that I've been pushing. So
God bless him and his family, man. Definitely.
Absolutely. Let's see. So now what I'm gonna show you 2 different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So if you can see it, it says the number 72 equals 9. This is why the 9 ball on the pool table is yellow. This is symbolic of the sun as well. Right? So then I explain the pool table, and this is why I'm sorry, the spinal column in humans is also coded in 8 and 9 as well. The female spinal column is 17 inches and the male spinal column is 18 inches. These numbers add up to 8 and 9. The 3 days that Jesus supposedly died and resurrected equals 72 hours.
Right, right.
The same goes for Jonah in the belly of the whale.
Right.
The average lifespan is 72 years, and optimal room condition is 72 degrees. There are 72 races that stem from Noah after the biblical flood in Genesis 10. In Genesis 28, Jacob's dream at Bethel reveals 72 stairs on Jacob's ladder.
Right.
There are 70 elders accompanying Moses that received the outpouring of the Spirit of God, and 2 that were absent, Eldad and Meldad in Numbers 11. Luke 10 states that there were 72 disciples of Christ. They are mentioned in Luke 10, 1-3, and Luke 10, 17. The mystical text of the Shemparach, the name of God, is composed of 72 letters. According to the Zohar, there are 72 old men of the synagogue. The Septuagint, which is the Greek Bible that existed before the Bible we have now, the Septuagint was composed of 72 books. In Islam, Muhammad suggests to begin and finish meals with salt for protection against 72 weak sicknesses. The number of virgins a Muslim gets as a reward in heaven is 72. The Egyptian deity Asar was enclosed in a coffin by 72 evil disciples of his brother Set. And there are 72 immortals in Taoism. There are 72 companions of Hong Ti. According to the Lesser Keys of Solomon, there are 72 devils. The Pentagon is 72 feet high. Plato expressed that the number 72 is the marriage between heaven and earth. There are, I'm almost done. There are 72 semi-deacons in astrology. The volume of Saturn is 72 times the volume of Earth. The Persian centaur has 72 chords. The deity Hermes added 5 days to the 360-day calendar by adding 172 to every day. The axis of the Earth moves 1 degree every 72 years compared to the vault of heaven, and corresponds to the Pythagorean year, also called a mitocompsis. 360 times 72 equals 25,920.
Woo.
Right? And that's called the great year. Right?
Right.
So now, with that, and you understanding that, I could take you back here to Red Pill Alchemy, and I could bring this up today and show how that number 72 becomes so important in how they communicate. Now, right here, what I'm showing, it shows you that the date that Donald Trump was announced president, 11/9/2016, right?
Right.
That's important because 11:9, Genesis 11:9 is the Tower of Babel story.
Oh, right.
So has there been a lot of confusion in the world?
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So since Trump has been in office, there's been nothing but confusion. Now I'm gonna show you this. The number 72 is a number incorporated with the names of God in Hebrew. And there are 27 nakshatras, also called lunar mansions, in the Hindu or Vedic astrology. The 27 nakshatras are also the constellations in Vedic astrology, and they each hold a value of 13 degrees. Right?
Right.
This becomes important because when we start to break all of this stuff down, 72, and I'll stop there. I ain't gonna beat you in the head with my books, but 72.
I like it because now I have a blueprint or like a guideline for what I'm reading. I know what I'm getting, and you're
Right.
showing people where you're going, because that's the most interesting thing is you kind of don't eliminate anything, you connect everything,
Correct.
and kind of show historical proof for where these things, because a lot of people get a hold of concepts in religion and they feel like they started it, and they feel like this is something new, or they feel like we're the only ones. And you know, the more and more you live, and the more and more you read, you know, the world doesn't really operate like that. And it's kind of bigger than anything we could imagine. Nothing does just happen. You know, most of the things that happen, there's a motive behind it, and there is an actual a place we're going to, and it's all going to connect together. So I like that type of teaching. Now, due to the program, I'm gonna have to have you come back on here.
Okay.
But because I mean, just what you just hit me with, I'm seeing. I'm like, okay, I got to go back and read up on that. I'm gonna read on that.
Right.
So I'm taking that with my mind. But we still want to promote the books, Supreme Science, a Red Pill Alchemy. Where can they get a copy of Supreme Science from you, Dewayne?
They're actually on sale on Amazon.
Okay.
Right. And also, we need to plug my website, supremescience99.com. So it's the word supremescience99, the numerals.com. And there's actually a link to my books there as well.
Okay, awesome. And you also do some children's books too, right?
Right. I have a children's book called Ariel's Crown. It's also on Amazon.
Okay.
And that was a book that I wrote for my oldest child. Her middle name is Ariel. And basically it was her journey from going from a private school that was predominantly melanated. Well, it was all melanated children.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use that term black. So next time I come, we need to talk about why we don't need to say black. We don't need to call ourselves black, because that's not a race. That's not a race, and it's not a nationality. You know.
And see, for me, I'm sold out on black because it's an identifier. So I definitely want to hear what you got to say.
Black is a state.
Right.
It's the supreme state of existence, because all color in the visible light spectrum manifests itself combined to be black. So that's why our melanin can create every hue, right? But as far as legal standing, when we call ourselves black, that's what allows us to be murdered and executed the way that we are, and there's no recourse legally.
Okay, so I'm interested in hearing that. So we're gonna get into that next time.
Right.
I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you doing the interview with me. I'm gonna have you more on the program, but I definitely enjoyed it. Everybody, make sure you hit up Supreme Science 99. And is that .com? Is that .com?
Yes, sir.
SupremeScience99.com. Check out the books. Get familiar with Dewayne Hendrix. B-Town, he's right here in your community, so you can have access to this brother. And you know, any books you got, and anytime you want to chat, I got an open door for you. We definitely gonna do this again.
Definitely,
so definitely, God bless. Everybody, make sure you run by Supreme Science 99. It's Hallelujah 96.3, and that was my conversation with Dewayne Hendrix, the author, the philosopher, and man, the teacher. So hey, I look forward to next time, brother. We're gonna get it in definitely.
Okay, bro.
God bless.
All right, peace.